If you are going for a new level in your life, then you get to encounter a new devil. New level, new devil. So, this week in this episode, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the surprising things that came about when I decided to leave my corporate job and become an entrepreneur. If we haven't met yet, my name's Amanda Kaufman, and I help coaches to launch and scale their successful coaching businesses. And oh my goodness, the world that we find ourselves in today. I started this podcast probably 5 years ago. I've been doing the business thing and spending at least all my weekends and evenings and mornings on it for close to a decade. And I'm always re anchored or surprised as new people are joining every single day. Tens of thousands of coaches join the industry every single year. But I'm often reminded of some of those things I thought early on and how I've had to change my mind. The number one thing is around your perfectionism. So I used to say I am such a perfectionist and I would be very dramatic about it. That's just sort of my way. But I would get really stuck on what is the one best way to do the thing. I think some of it comes from being an oldest child, being somebody who really appreciated earning grades and stuff in school. So I think the thing is like when you're earning a grade, usually there is a right answer. There's this mathematical certain outcome that you can follow to get the big result. And here's the rude truth. You can be successful so many different ways. So many different ways. Nowadays, everybody thinks, oh, I have to post to social media and then I'll be a famous coach. Or I need to start a podcast or a show and then I'll be a great coach. Or I need to, earn my fame somehow. I need to get onto stages and I need to have a big social following or I need to write a book and then I will be an amazing, coach, expert. Somebody will want to hire me. And here's the radical truth of it all. And this is after me like trying so many different paths, trying so many different ways to market, so many different ways to do this thing. They all work. They all work, right? The question is, which one are you feeling the most pulled to struggle through? Because although they all work, whether you're becoming an author first, or a speaker first, or a coach first, or a course creator first, or a freelancer first, whatever your thing is as an expert, whatever you lead with, that's just the thing you chose. There is no one right answer and best way. And when I very first started out, I was hearing it was almost like being caught in a fight all the time because there would be people screaming, it's better to work your way up from the bottom. And then there would be people screaming, no, know your worth. You need to have premium, blah, 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 blah. And for a minute there, I thought that I was doing everything right. I had very, very premium coaching packages. I was doing everything offline. I actually shunned online. I shunned doing videos like this. And I was wrong. I was wrong. Conviction was the thing that helped me to actually do it. So the conviction that I was going to use higher ticket, the conviction that it was better to meet people offline than online. That's what made it work. It was the conviction behind it. It wasn't necessarily the strategy. And let me tell you how I knew I was wrong. I was hustling, like a lot of entrepreneurs do. And I would go to a lot of events, I'd go to a lot of seminars, I'd go to a lot of conferences, and that's where I would meet people who I would then invite into conversation, and then we would escalate into a consult, and bada bing bada boom, I've got a nice full coaching practice, which is just like awesome. Except I got onto a bit of a burnout rhythm with it. I was traveling almost as much as I had been for my prior corporate job. And I was recently a mother of now 4 kids. And I got to the end of the year and I had forgotten to book a ticket to a seminar that I planned to go to. And not only that, I forgot to book the seminar ticket. So it's like I was running so hard, I was just burnt to a crisp. So for that month, like my major opportunity for generating new business just vaporized, it disappeared. And I had to do something about it. So I decided to choose a different strategy. So the different strategy that I chose at that time was to do a webinar. Now, again, Webinars work, VSLs work, DM setting works, organic content works. It all works. All of it works. So I chose the webinar route and I thought, you know what? I've been wanting to do a group program for a while because the great thing about a group program is you can sell the same hour of coaching, the live component, over and over and over again. And then you can use a standardized curriculum to kind of have everybody be singing from the same song sheet. So great. So I launched the thing, and wouldn't you know it, I succeeded that way too. So I went from being like hardcore, never go online coach to here, let me try this, because the other option was, I was out of the planning to make that thing work. And the webinar worked. I couldn't even believe it, to be honest. And, I tried it again. It didn't really work. Like, not as good. I tried it again and it worked, but again, sort of sad results. I was like, what am I doing wrong? So I flipped from doing webinars to then doing like challenges. So I was doing like these 5-day challenges where you invite people into the free challenge and then you're facilitating the challenge through like a free Facebook group, for example, and everybody has activities and we're moving along and we're getting a goal together. And then at the end, I would have a presentation with, of course, the pitch. Well, wouldn't you know it, the first time I ever did the challenge, it was outstanding. Right? Our ROI on the investment of the time and the energy and the spending to be able to like do that particular way, it paid off like facts. It was amazing. So what did I do? I did it again. Now, again, it wasn't as exciting the second time. It was about half as exciting. Still exciting, but it's like half as exciting. So I ran it again. And guess what? Half as exciting as the previous two. It was like watching carbon decay, it was like 14x, 7x, 3.5x, right? And every time I ran it, it still worked, but it just worked like a little bit less. I was like, dang, time for another strategy, right? So I've run so many different strategies. I actually kind of skipped over a couple in my storytelling, but the theme of it is that it will work until it stops working. In fact, behind me, I've got my $1 Million Group Award. That was another strategy where we ran paid ads to a live Facebook group where we did regular weekly lives and we set out of the group, right? We had DM conversations with anybody who joined the group, and then we would set appointments out of that group. Which again, when I first started to do it, it was amazing. I was getting huge ROI out of that strategy. But over time, as we kept running it, we had to do more and more and more and more and more work to try to get the same amount of outcome. And eventually I shut that one down too, because I was like, it doesn't work. But guess what I learned? They all work. All things work, right? But the first time you do something, your audience is going to respond to that and they're going to go like, whoa, this is novel, this is exciting, this is new. The second time you go and do the thing, people kind of know it's coming. So the crowd or the crew that already went through your campaign the first time, they already had it, they already experienced it. So there's not really like more for them. So you have to have a strategy to meet more new people that can keep up with the people that are dropping off because they already, they rode the Disneyland ride. They already did it. So I share this all with you because it took me trying several different forms of marketing to realize that there's novelty every time you do it for the first time. And eventually you can actually deplete and exhaust your audience or your list. And so then that means the results you're getting, even though you're following the same exact process, they're not going to have the same outcomes. In the case of the Facebook community strategy, the cost of advertising just kept rising, right? It was rising from the day I started, because that's actually a truism in online marketing, is that the cost of impressions is always rising. So it's a little bit at a time, but you're eventually going to be facing much more expensive ad costs. So you can up that by making your advertising even better. But again, you have to make the investment of the time and the energy to stay in front of that machine, right? All of this to say, I was driven for a long time by this idea that there's one magical right way to build a business that I really love. And on the way, I built so many different versions of the same business. I've always been helping people. I've largely been helping coaches and entrepreneurs to succeed, but It was almost like I was constantly on this hunt for the perfect thing. And that cost me really dearly. I ended up spending like a lot of money learning a lot of different techniques, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't ask where in the process is it broken. I threw out the whole process. And I see coaches do this all the time. The only reason why I can call it out now is because I realized, wait a minute, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting razzled dazzled by the latest marketing ploy or the latest marketing strategy. And I would run the playbook, and I was so good at running the playbook. But here's the thing. Eventually, it made me feel a lot like I felt as I was about to leave my corporate career. You see, in corporate, same thing. I started to really feel like I was this playbook, like I was just going through the motions and just checking all these boxes. And I was always looking for a better playbook, and I would run the playbook, but I never felt like I was writing it. You know what I mean? Like I was the one that was writing what we were going to do. And I think it came from an insecurity that like maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't know if it's going to work. Maybe there's no certainty there. And what I later realized is I'm like, yeah, no one knows. Like those people that are selling you the exact blueprint of exactly what to do, you're going to get initial success and then it's not going to work anymore. And you're going to wonder what the hell is wrong with you. And I'm here to say, nothing. Nothing's wrong with you. You were given a recipe that you can use, and depending on the size of your audience or depending on your messaging, depending on the appeal that you have, your audience is going to interact with that campaign with those steps that you've been given. And once they've seen it, it's been seen. Once they've seen it, it's been seen. So, I've been really interested in marketing, thank God, right? Like I wouldn't have figured out what I figured out so much along the way if I didn't have like a deep interest in it. But one of my favorite marketing books is by Bill Glazer. I actually know his daughter, Mara Glazer. She taught me the foundations of my direct response style copywriting, my email copywriting. Like, I can write the way I do because of Mara Glazer. But her dad was also like, he was an incredible direct response marketer, and his book was called Outrageous Marketing. And like the big main thesis of the thing is do something that's unexpected. So if you're buying marketing programs from people, here's my biggest tip. Do buy the program. I know that sounds counterintuitive. I was just saying like there's so many different ways that you can market your business and they all work. That being said, there's a skill to the marketing. There's a skill to understanding like here's how much you can ask for at a time, and here's how to build a real customer journey, and here's how to go, here's how to structure it all. The structural part of your marketing, I recommend that you enroll in some programs. So and maybe even do one that is about maybe something that's running advertising. Do one that's maybe about how to do really good webinars. Like mix it up, shake it up. Like try the different methods, learn from different people. But what you're really wanting to know is you're really wanting to know the core skills of marketing. And this idea of outrageous advertising or outrageous marketing is okay, now I know the core fundamentals. I've run the playbook, I've done the basics, I see that it works, I believe in it, I understand. Now, how can I shake it up? How can I break it up? How can I make this something that is not aligning to a playbook or a perfectionistic standard, but rather is something that is creative, unexpected, and of my own design, right? And that is so freeing in so many ways. Let me list the ways, right? It's freeing because you're not feeling guilty because you're not perfect, right? You let go of the idea that there ever was a perfect, because there isn't a perfect. I just told you, like, you can run the playbook. It'll work so super well. The next time you run it, it's going to work a little less well, a little less well, a little less well. And even if you've got, paid advertising, there's no campaign that I am aware of. Wait, there's one. Generally, no campaign that I'm aware of that stays largely the same over time. The one that occurred to me was actually the campaign of like getting people into churches and religion, right? So that one's like, here's your Bible, and that's like the oldest long form sales letter in circulation, I think. But apart from that, name a brand that their advertising strategy, their marketing strategy, their visibility strategy hasn't shifted at all. You can't do it, right? Because novelty is a big part of this. And the other thing is that our world has changed so much. With the pandemic, everybody went home, and then the number of views that a person consumes, it went up like 3 to 4x. So people are consuming more, but they are also less patient. So they're consuming more, but they're flicking faster through the stuff. And what that means is that your stuff, if it's going to actually survive, it needs to stand out. It's got to be like a little outrageous. So all of that to say, welcome to my blog. When it comes to attracting clients, I do recommend that you have a CRM. I recommend you have an email cadence. I recommend that you have these foundations of marketing in place. But if you're looking for that silver bullet of the perfect way to market your business, there's the one you choose and the one you choose to struggle through learning. I will see you in another episode. Until then, make sure that you share this with a few of your friends and subscribe, and we will see you in a future episode.